What is up? Hopefully you are having a fantastic day, but I'm telling you, if you're watching this, you might not be. So we're going to make it better. We're going to kick some butt today. We're going to take some names. We're going to get you back to feeling awesome. Probably actually not back to feeling better than you've ever felt before. In this video, we're going to go over how to break negative thought patterns. Ones that have felt like they've been around forever. Sometimes just come up out of nowhere. Okay. It's a little bit unconventional. Okay. It's going to be a little bit different than what you can read about, what you can find about. But let's be real. Most people, even when they go do things such as going to therapies and going to taking medicines and drugs and things to make them feel better, they still end up not feeling awesome. So if we keep doing the same things that other people are doing, guess what, team? You're going to end up feeling the same exact ways you were before. You might feel a little bit better, but this is how you do this, how you actually break negative thought patterns in an unconventional way. So when doing these things, I'm going to preface all this by one, don't let your ego get in the way of you getting the results you want. Okay, so there's going to be things here that we're going to talk about, if you already haven't experienced it with food, in lifestyle and in behavior change and in thought pattern, how our body and brain works, that people, if you were just to tell them about it, they would feel like this is nuts. So, and I'll literally show you exactly why. Actually, just had the thought. Now, I'll show you exactly why. And I'll teach you exactly why they think that. Okay. So when you're doing these things, if there's one of these that you choose to do, and we'll get into what that is and how that is, you're not going to ask people permission. You're going to tell people how you want them to act around you so that you can be successful. Okay? This is not a permission-seeking thing. This is what I demand of you, which is really cool. You've already clicked this. Good job. Now, we're going to talk about thought and how thought sometimes just happens to come to us. Okay? Whether it be good, bad, great, terrible, sad, worrisome, jealous, envy, I don't know, whatever. Okay. Some thoughts just come to us. Sometimes we get great downloads. Sometimes we get downloads to us. We're like, wow, that's not what I wanted to feel. Okay. And this actually all, before I get into this, sprang about and making this video. The last 2 weeks for me have been really challenging. Not like challenging, like, oh, I'm having a rough go. Like, it's been the lowest I've felt in probably 2 years. No, that's a lie. About 18 months. I used to feel, when I first started doing all this mindset work and behavior change and implementing what I'm about to tell you about, I used to get to a point of so little action, so little care for the world, that getting out of bed was a challenge. Every day I'd wake up feeling like I was going to be like I was nauseous, like I was going to throw up. I couldn't eat in the morning for a long time. I would have to do something to get my dopamine up, whether it be play video games, whether it be take like CBD, something. I'd have to do something to get reward myself with food, something to get me to where I felt like I was okay enough to feel okay. And that sucked. And so I reached out for some help from a neuropsychologist, a guy that looks at your brain and how we can develop your brain to help better your psychology. Okay, and from there, it's just been opening my eyes to things that are beyond me. There's 4 levels we're going to talk about today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I would get at the bottom one, and that was home. That's where I lived forever. And now the worst I get to is like the middle of level 2. And we'll go over exactly what those things mean in just a minute. Okay, so I typically am in level 4 at the very top. There's 5 levels. Excuse me. I think there's 5. We'll look at it in just a second. I think there's 4. But I get to very near the top of level 4, and I'd feel great. I'd feel really good. I would work kind of hard and get insane result in every area of my life. And it was like I didn't have to try, and results would come to me. In fitness, in work, in life, in religion, in family, everything. It was just simple. Like it was so easy. And the past couple of weeks is like forceful. Like, oh, I gotta work. And I gotta work out, and I gotta da da da, and it's like I don't know, it's like really hard. It's been really tough, and it's like, and when I'm forcing it, it's just like not working, and so it makes me feel like, gosh, do I suck? Is all this that I've done just fake news? Is it all straight CNN up in here? Is it like, why, like all this stuff, all of these, all of those wouldn't have happened. Like, those just happened to be like, I got lucky. I just happened to be there, and they did all the work, and they didn't learn anything from me, and they would have got the results whether it be from me or somebody else. It just happened to be there. Chris, you're not that good. Like, these things would come through my mind. Within the last couple of weeks, I'm like, what is happening? Because I know I'm badass. I know I'm really good. I mean, shoot, I spent 100K last year in my business. You know what I mean? This year, excuse me, for stuff in my, you don't get there by being a schlub. It doesn't grow on trees, that money. I'm doing things to get it. You know what I mean? And I'm investing it into my knowledge. Like, I would have to be really dense to not be good. I'd have to be really dumb. So I had a conversation with him, like, man, these last couple weeks have been really tough for me. I feel like these things. He's like, yeah, I noticed that too. What's been going on for you? And we talked about it. And then it came up of this, what I'm teaching you today. And we've talked about it a little bit. And he's like, now's the time for us to piece it together. And it was like a freaking light bulb went boom in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. Now I've done it today, and I feel awesome. I feel really good. Not at perfection, not where I'm typically at, but I'm like 2 steps ahead, and 2 steps ahead's thriving. And so I'm feeling good, and I know that I have a little bit more work to do to get back to feeling awesome. Oh, can't wait. Anyway, dig back into this. So we've got thoughts. Thoughts sometimes come to us, just like what's called imposter syndrome, where you're really good, but sometimes you get these things that you're not good, or maybe like look at you fat schlub, or you're so dumb, you're no one cares about me, and all these things, right? These thoughts come to our head. And when these thoughts come to our head, we then attach an emotion to it. We attach an emotion. And if we were to continue to ask ourselves what emotion that would be, it typically land us somewhere in happiness, joy, pride, courageous, neutral, worried, apathy, guilt, shame, helplessness. For me, it got to helplessness. And we attach emotion to it, some feeling that we have. And then that feeling breeds about more feelings. And this is where things get sideways. Sometimes. Because we have things called spirals. And spirals could be downward spirals, and they could be upward spirals. Most people don't even know about upward spirals. This is just, again, the point of this is that there's a bunch of stuff that is never talked about, even if you go seek professional help. No one ever talks an upward spiral. I bet if you Googled it, you don't even see what an upward spiral is. And maybe you do. But I'm going to tell you, it'll probably autocorrect you saying, are you sure you didn't mean downward spiral? Because no one ever looks these stuff up, let alone talks about it. Okay, so we get thoughts that continue to trail, I didn't lose weight today. That must mean because I'm stupid and I'm dumb. I'm not smart. I'm helpless. And look at that, makes me feel like I'm never going to lose weight ever, and I'm unique. It must be like I'm working really hard. It must be something out of my control. It must be my age. It must be my whatever. It must be because I'm busy. Whatever that means. It must be because right? We start spiraling out of control, which either leads us to one of two places. Inaction, meaning you do nothing. This is when the phenomenon happens. And get ready for it. You've been tracking your food for months straight. Weeks, weekends, whatever. And then you magically start forgetting to. Weird. Inaction. craziness. Or you get to a place of hyperactivity. This is when you go, I'm going to work out every day, when you haven't worked out for the past 3 weeks straight. Hyperactivity. It's because I lack effort that I need to do tons of things. It might not even be a lack of effort. It might be a lack of effort pointing in the wrong direction, which is something we'll go over to not in this video, something else. It's like, fun fact, you will never be able to make a cake if you have pizza ingredients. Never. Won't work. Impossible. And you can work as hard as you want, but you will never ever get to a cake if you have tomatoes and cheese and pepperoni and pizza crust. It won't ever come out to be a cake. Anyway, so you do hyperactivity, you go nuts, and then hyperactivity, forcing to doing many things to try to fix something, leads to continued failure because you're forcing it, and that leads to inactivity. Because why keep trying stuff and keep failing? Problem. Okay? And now, just so we're abundantly clear, this is not forcing things, the right things in this program, because when you do the things that are outlined here, they yield you the result. This is stuff like, I'm not losing weight, so I'm purposefully not going to eat my carbohydrates so I can try to eat less food and lose weight faster. That stuff. It's like changing the way, doubling down, getting into frustration, right? And so that is how this thing goes. And so I was running into hyperactivity. I'm like, all right, I need to do so many things. I'm gonna do 4 videos a day. I'm gonna do all these things. I'm going to generate XYZ. I'm gonna do these things. I've got a whole plan of what I'm gonna do, and then it just like would flop. Like, it wouldn't work. Like, what the crap? It's because you get stuck down here into force. I'm forcing things. I'm pushing really, really hard. I'm falling for illusions that are not real. I'm doing all these things, and then eventually leads me to inaction of not trying. Inaction is the feelings that come from fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame. Hyperactivity is pride, anger, desire. Okay? And so what we need to do, or what I'm going to teach you, is how we can get you 2 levels up from where you are. That is considered thriving. 2 levels. That's it. So we can get you to grief to desire. We're moving. And if this is the top and this is the bottom, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about going from, I normally feel here and I fall all the way down here. I'm like, let's get you from desire up to pride or courage. Because when you're up in here in this power area, in this productivity and happiness and peak performance and synchronicity, this is where things just happen. The stars magically align and things just come to you. Your efforts, your 1 pound of effort yields 10 pounds of results. If in an inactivity, your 1 pound of effort gives 0.1 pounds of result, which is why you got to shove and push and work so hard. When we can just get you to productivity and happiness, or reason, or synchronicity with extraordinary outcomes. Man, how cool would it be for your 1 pound of effort to give you 10 pounds of result? What if you gave the same amount of effort and got 10x result? How would your life change? I can tell you, it is effing awesome for the kids that are listening, okay? I'm typically somewhere in here. Typically. I got all the way down to here. Whew. I freaking stumbled and fell. I normally would fall down to here. I never really got to guilt and shame, I don't think. I know I got to apathy, and I would stay there, and my top was fear. My tippy top, where I felt good. And I got all the way down to here and here. I'm bobbling. So where my days now, how I felt the worst, were like my best days 18 months ago. Is it worth 18 months of work? to go from having your worst days now being your best? Yeah, definitely, for sure. For sure. Okay. And why you telling people and going through exactly what we're talking about without context and without any sort of insight on where they are, why this is important, anything, is they're going to run into fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame. They're going to be like, so you mean to tell me you're going to do this and it's going to make you feel better? That sounds stupid. That sounds dumb. I would never do that. Yeah, because you're stuck in inaction. No shit, you wouldn't do that. You don't do anything. Duh. So for us to tell you to do something doesn't make any sense in that brain of yours. And this, by the way, isn't people that are schlubs. It could be everybody. Anybody can get to there. Anybody can get to that point and live there and be successful. Doctors are there. Nurses are there. Entrepreneurs are there. Fitness professionals are there. I can't tell you the amount of people that I've talked to that have had personal trainers that have told them things that just made no sense because they were stuck. And because it doesn't make sense to the coach, they can't teach you how to make it make sense. Like there's been people that I've talked to that said there's no reason for you to try to lose weight because you're going to have extra skin because of your pregnancy. Okay. You know that with 100% certainty. You know for sure? Are you sure? You 2 years out of being a personal trainer, you know that? You're 20 and you're a dude and you know this? Huh. That sounds like full of shit to me. That doesn't sound true. Now, do I know the answer? No. But do I know definitively? No, I don't. But you putting your inaction, your why even try because you're not going to get anywhere sort of mentality is why you're stuck and why you're going to be unsuccessful. No, thank you. Which is why I work so heavily on this so that on my bad days, I don't spew my gunk into you. I just look at your situation and be like, this is the perfect situation. Oh my gosh. And you might be like, what the fuck? Nah. Because I see different. I'm seeing your situation differently. I can see how these things can maneuver. And I can see and I can tell you why you're not being successful is because you're not planning your meals. And you're like, Chris, I have no time. I'm like, exactly. You have no time. And so you're grab bagging meals that take twice as much time in the drive-through because you got to figure out what you want, drive there, pick it up, wait in line, do the things, get back home. It takes 45 minutes to do that. Maybe an hour thinking about it. When you can cook, when you can cook all your meals for the week in an hour, hour and a half, and save money and save time. But in action, it doesn't make sense because I have no time. You see what I'm saying? But in higher levels, you're like, exactly. You don't have time. I have no energy. I know. That's the exact reason you work out. So you can gain energy. So your body can feel good. So you can have less stress in your body. So your body's not run down, not anchored to the floor by fear and grief and apathy. It is risen up to at least courage to push your ass and lift some weights, to work hard, to run. See what I'm saying? But in each of these things, from my point of view, it makes perfect sense. But sometimes it's like, this doesn't make sense. So how can we get you higher almost immediately? I'll show you. It's really cool. But we can't do it this way. Okay? We can't do it with I'm loved. Especially some of these that are deep. I believe in me. I can do this. I am brave. I matter to the world. Because some of these things that keep freaking burying you are guarded like a freaking wall of China. And saying happy things doesn't do it. Doing those things simply just doesn't quite match it. Doesn't work because you're in action. Even if he told you these things, your subconscious wouldn't believe it anyway. So here's what we do. And again, this is the part where you don't ask for permission. You tell people, this is how it's going to go. Okay? Me and my wife don't fight often. Thank goodness. My wife is great. She's an amazing woman, and I'm very blessed to have her. But I remember one fight we had when we first got married. It was over something. I actually don't even remember what it was. It was some pattern I would do. It would be something like, if I had to guess what it was like not putting dishes away or something like that. And at the time, sound misogynistic all I want, but this is how we work. At the time, I was working and she was not working. She was going to school and I was working. And so I said, hey, hon, if this is the thing that makes you the most mad that I do, you need to find something else to be mad at, because this is stupid. This is dumb to be mad at this. That mad. Cut it out. So instead, she never got mad at me for that. She didn't. Because I didn't ask, hey, can you please? I said, this is not cool to be mad at. Find something else. You can be mad at whatever else you want. This thing, though, is dumb. I'm probably not going to change it. Not because I don't want to. But because it's just meaningless to me. Like, you're at home all day. I don't make messes. If you could just put the dishes away, that'd be great. Because I'm paying all the bills and stuff. Call it misogynistic, whatever. When she was doing the same thing when my business wasn't doing great, you bet I was at home when I wasn't trying to work my butt off. I was cleaning. I was taking care of the dog that we had. I was doing all the things, right? Roles. Got to play them. Someone's got to. Someone's got to do it, right? So you're going to tell people in your world how this is going to go for you so that these patterns can get broken. And you're not going to tell them why. You're going to tell them this is how it goes. And I told my wife this today. I said, hey, hon, if I walk away for a minute and I'm doing something, you need to give me some time because I'm trying to work through something, okay? And so here's what we're trying to do. We're going to hack your body. And what we need to do is the point in which we're going to hack, where we need to do something, is one of two places. Ideally perfect world, when the thought comes in. When the thought of, Chris, you are just a big faker. All the stuff that you're saying is really meaningless and pointless. No one listens anyway. Look, you've had 2 likes on your videos. See? Nobody's paying attention. Stop talking. No one cares. That thought. Can you tell how visceral and real that is? Because it's real. Okay? So, bam, right there. Or when the thought comes in and the emotion takes place. If it gets down past the spiral, it's just going to take a little bit more effort to break it. Does it mean you should skip it? No. It just means you need to recognize when these things start coming in. You need to be aware. We no longer, as people that want to get insane results and feel better than anybody else, cannot go through life as a passive airhead of our feelings and our thoughts. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry. You have now the obligation when things come your way that you don't like to fix them. Otherwise, you become a puppet and you become part of somebody else's plan. And their intention might not be good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it might not be good. But would you want to be a pawn in somebody else's play? Or do you want to be the king or queen in your world? That one. That one. That's what I want to be, at least. Okay? So when these things come in, either thought or emotion, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do a pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupt. And here's how you do that and why we're doing it. When you do these things, we need to put your subconscious brain, because that's where all these things are coming from, right? Like, it's not for me consciously thinking these. It's my brain sees that 2 people have liked my video, or on TikTok, 5 people have seen a video that I thought was really good. I see that. My brain goes, I know what we did with that before. we said that made us feel inadequate and stupid. And because we feel inadequate and stupid, that's because, remember when we were trying to play sports and we'd never win, we wouldn't do great? And you remember when remember you crying at Central High School when the coach said you had people sitting on the bench that wanted to play so hard but didn't, and the starters continued to fail and flop around and not do great, and they should have been able to play? Do you remember when you and Josh were looking at each other crying because we were the ones who didn't play? Do you remember that? Yeah, I do too. Look at that. That's still you, Chris. No one gives a shit about you. See that? It's almost like it really happened. Crazy. And so these things, if we can start saying, okay, I see that's coming. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to dance, cold shower, exercise, smile, or speak crazy. And you might be like, that's not nuts. Here's actually what I mean. You're going to dance like a freaking maniac. You're going to dance like, whatever, like a goofball. You're going to dance like you just got hit with the crazy, like you're on PCP, like you're nuts. You should be exhausted. You should be like, oh my gosh, that was a workout with music on, with some amazing music. Something, and it's the same one each time, same music. I picked the same song. That's what I'm doing because it's the one that makes my ego have to get the hell out of the way. Because guess what? Look at this. You see this color? You're like, it looks like it's shining. No, that's my pale white skin. Your boy doesn't dance at all. Zero times has Chris been like, you know what, hun? Let's go dance. Ever. Because it's, no thank you. I feel like a dummy. Don't like it. Okay? But to dance like a maniac, it puts my brain into survival mode. It's like, we don't like this, dude. We do not like it at all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Cold shower. Okay? Get all the way naked. Jump in a cold shower. Okay? Cold. Ice cold. To where you're going, again, you want your brain to go right to survival mode. Like, oh shit, I got to start doing some stuff. I got to start firing some things to get me so I don't die. Exercise to utter exhaustion. This isn't like, squat and stand. I am exercising to exhaustion. This is like burpees until you pass out, until you feel like you're going to throw up. You need to go nutso. You need to go hard. You need to go, I'm running away from a bear in the deep part of my brain, even though my eyes can see I'm not. The deep part of my brain needs to feel like I am going to run away from a freaking bear that is going to attack me right now. Like, if you live in Gilbert, by the way, Cooper and Ray area, there's a cougar that's been around there for about 3 months. 3 months. That sumbitch is freaking chasing after you. That's what you need to think. I got to work out like I'm running away from that cougar. And we're not talking about a 40-year-old woman, okay? We're talking about a freaking mountain lion. Things that can kill you. Easy. Snap your neck without trying, okay? Smile like you're Heath Ledger from The Joker. Smile so hard that your face cramps, like hard, like a neck. Hard. Speak crazy like you're talking gibberish. Okay, again, here's why. Okay, I'm not saying this to be a freaking weirdo. Okay, again, so get the ego aside, tell that thing to shut up for a minute. Okay, because here's the deal. If that emotion or that thought immediately makes you dance like you're a freaking lunatic, jump in a cold shower, exercise until you're going to pass out almost, smile like you're a maniac, like you are, I don't know, on the best weed ever, speak crazy like you're gibberish, like you're talking in tongues, like you're talking some crazy alien language. Guess what happens? Your brain don't like that. Conscious brain knows what it's doing. Subconscious brain doesn't know what it's doing. Like, what the F is going on here, pal? You went psycho. We normally would go down this road. Why are we going down this road? And you are making us. Because it hijacks that part of your brain. You can't think of, oh my gosh, I can't believe my coach wouldn't play me when you're dancing like a lunatic, dancing to some like Daft Punk song. You know what I mean? Move it to where you're sweating. You are sweating. Like even just doing that just now, I'm like, oh, my stomach. And I just put the AC down here to 70 degrees. Lunatic, okay? Because what happens is you grab a big old wrecking ball and go wham against that wall. And you're like, oh, okay. I can't go down there. Like my brain. And if it does it again, guess what? You get another wrecking ball. Wham! Smack it again. Because your brain wants to go that way, but you turn it the other way. And then soon enough, the whole wall falls down. The whole wall falls down. To where that thought can't be there anymore. But here's the deal. You have to do something else with it. Because you can't just take away a thought. You want to replace it. Your brain wants to solve problems. And if you don't solve the problem for your brain, or at least present a solution, it will find something else for you. Sure, you might not feel like the very bottom of this. You might not feel here when that thought comes at the very bottom. At fear. But you might feel like desire. And if we don't build a moat to where fear is impossible to happen, you will fall down. And again, 18 months, I go from here to here when I'm bad, when I'm not doing great. From here, what's the likelihood of going from here to here? Pretty high. So here's what we do to fix that. What you're doing is you want to insert a new idea, a new thought, a new emotion while you're doing this. One that signifies joy, makes you happy. And I learned this today, that I've been doing this not wrong, but not all the way right. And so if I've taught you about polarizing, here's version 2.0. Okay? You want to think of something that brings about intense levels of joy. For me, intense levels of joy, I could always say, oh, it's my kids, and that would be true, but not really true. You know, if I'm being honest, it's not really true. Because I didn't do much. I'm very happy I have kids. But I don't know of a single event that led to me having more joy than me doing the Arizona Super in 2019. I don't think there was anything better than that in my life. Even to this day, I don't think there's anything better than that until hopefully this next race. So to get you a little bit of backstory, this and this, same race. Okay. Look at this Utah Super here. 3 hours, 28 minutes. Look at this sprint. 1 hour, 42 minutes. Look at this Super. 3 hours and 48 minutes. Pretty solid. But look at this. Same, this course and this course were the same course. I finished it in nearly half the time. A year later, I finished this Super, the first ever race I did, without missing one obstacle. One obstacle. I did all of them in a row. And I felt so good after the race that I bawled my eyes out. I cried. Crying. I got past the finish line. I remember I was running, jump over the finish line. I get to where my wife could walk up to me, and I'm on the ground like this, just bawling. And Emily thought I was hurting. She thought I got injured. And I didn't. Because I've never felt so much accomplishment. All the work I've been doing with my mind, with my brain, with my body, with my nutrition, with all the times that my coach would say, Chris, you're not good enough. Chris, you suck. Chris, you can try, but you'll never make it. You're good enough to be on the team, but not good enough to play. And I went out there and smoked it. Not one person passed me. I did all of the things without stopping. I remember doing some of like the rope climb, and I was like, "Oh yeah!" I yelled it real loud. I remember going on one of the things that I couldn't do before and went through the whole thing. I was like, "Easy!" Like, oh, I've made some people probably feel really self-conscious, but I felt so good. And I could think of while I'm doing this thing, while I'm doing these pattern interrupts, I literally have this photo up and these times up. And I think, oh, that feeling of happiness just goes as I'm doing my dancing like a goofball. I'm like, yeah. I just looking at it, I'm like, look at me. Man, I remember that. I remember going past people. I remember even stopping and helping people. And they thought it was so cool that I would go and help them, make them feel good. And I would help people. And I'd be like, hell yeah, man, let's go. And so good. And I could feel it almost like in the Hulk movie where when Hulk gets angry, all of his body starts going green and green and green. Mine goes bright orange and it's warm and it's like I'm in a hot tub and I can feel it. And then as soon as I start feeling my body, it just goes boom out of my chest and it starts filling up this entire room full of how joyful and how great and how accomplished and how strong and how, oh my gosh, I've never felt so good in my life. So it's going in the whole room. And I'm sitting there doing my thing, moving. And I'm like, yeah, and just my mind's eye, I see it all bright orange. I'm like, ooh, I'm listening to my song, doing my thing. And I'm like, man, I can see it just literally leaking under the floor. It's just, I'm in my office right now. It's just, the whole building is just literally like a flood just goes with all of my happiness and all my joy. Just starts going everywhere. Yeah, that feels good. And so, when you go through these things, when you're doing this, you need to introduce a new feeling. You have a thought, and you need to introduce what that thought means. And so, anytime that thought comes up, your brain does not want you to go to do crazy town. And so it immediately goes, I'm going to hurry and save myself going to survival mode. I'm going to think of happiness now. I'm going to think of how great it felt when I did the same race 1 year later, 3 hours and 48 minutes to 2 hours and 5 minutes. I finished 252nd in my age group to 38 in my age group to 1,806 of all males to 211 of, in this one, 2,706 to 236. That means I beat all but 15 chicks. And some of these chicks, if you've seen them, they're badass. They're hardcore. Damn. That's awesome. It means only 211 people beat me, or 236 people beat me total. I was better than I was in the top 10%. To go from upper 50% to top 10% in 1 year and 7 days, feels awesome. So find a way for you to have some sort of memory, thought, feeling that brings about that level of joy. It becomes easy. And if you can't get there, maybe you haven't ever got there, and that's okay. Not a shame, not a bad thing, just is. Find something higher. Remember a time where you felt insane amounts of love, where you're like, I have never felt so much support in my life, and you run with it, and you remember everything, and you brighten up the colors, and you intensify the warmth, and you feel all the feelings, and you can see everyone around you so loving and kind and generous and helpful. Oh, and man, reason. how God and the universe puts things in your world just for you. How things just kind of happen to fall in place. It's like it's almost meant to be that way, like it should have been. How great that is. Oh, man. Shoot for up here, and God forbid, you get to here. I was like right here. I'm about, if I'd be honest, probably in here today. But I know, give me a couple days. Oh, dude. I'm going to be easy about it. Probably just in talking about this, I'm probably up to here or here now. I'm already feeling pretty awesome. Okay? And just watch. Next couple days from making of this, you'll be like, Chris, something's up with you, dude. Something's weird about you. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you soon.